This closes at 5.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Ashtabula, Ohio. Welcome to the Ashtabula Towne Square. We're in my neck of the woods, kind of, as we're only about an hour and a half north of Pittsburgh. However, for me, Ashtabula is an area that I've frequented my entire life. At one point in time, my family and I had multiple campsites up in the Andover area of Ashtabula near Palmatuming Lake. My aunt and uncle had a camp, my parents did, my grandparents did, so it was a lot of fun. I used to frequent this area all the time. And I can tell you, over the course of my lifetime, I've watched this mall die. Now, in recent years, I haven't been here a whole lot like I used to be as a kid, but I've watched anchors drop from this place like flies. By the way, get a look at that fountain. I love that fountain. And obviously, when you're watching this in June of 2022, you can see that when we were here in the heart of wintertime. We showed up to the Ashtabula Towne Square the day after we had a snowstorm dump 2 feet of snow on us, thanks to the Great Lakes and lake effect snow, and snowstorms in general. Yes, we can get lake effect snow in February. If the lake isn't completely frozen, it happens. Anyway, that didn't stop us from going up there and having a nice day at the mall. The mall was dead, as you could see, but that hasn't been just because of the weather. That's been like that for the past several years. Not because of COVID, not because of anything else, but the mall itself and the owners, and we'll get into that in a minute. I was here in 2017. I did a video here with Ace's Adventures, but I never uploaded my footage. You might be asking yourself, why? Well, I wasn't happy with the way my content was. I wasn't happy with it. I was not going to be confident uploading a video from this mall back then, so I scrapped it. And I'll admit that as a YouTube creator, if I'm not happy with what I film, I'll delete it and try it again. And I'm sorry it took a few years to do it, but hey, better late than never. But anyway, here we are in 2022, and I would like to think that nowadays my video filming skills are a little bit better anyway, so I hope you enjoy this video. Anyway, let's get into the history of Ashtabula Towne Square. The mall opened up in 1992 as Ashtabula Mall. It had a name change years later, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But before we do, let me mention the anchor stores that this mall featured. At one point in time, they had 2 Dillard's stores, a Dillard's full-line department store and a Dillard's home store. JCPenney, a Kmart, Farmore, Carlisle's, and Sears. All of them that are gone. Dillard's had their home store, which would take over the old Carlisle's, which closed in 1994 with the chain's demise. The store would close in 2005, so Dillard's could focus more on their mainline department store, only for it to close 2 years later in 2007. The Kmart was a prototype store. It became a Super Kmart and was the only Super Kmart to be an anchor at a mall in the continental United States. The only other Super Kmart that I'm aware of was in Puerto Rico, obviously also gone. Farmore was also a prototype store. It was the 300th store in the company, and it closed in 2002 when the company liquidated all assets, even though some conflicting reports will say that it closed in the late 1990s, which isn't true. Wow. Sears would close in 2012, even though at that time that was their last profitable year. So why they closed stores then, not really sure, but they did. JCPenney would close in 2020. as issues with their bankruptcy and financial status caused it to close, as well as several other locations around the country. Dunham Sports is now the only anchor which is considered as one. Sure, the old anchor stores are occupied, but they're occupied by businesses that the average shopper wouldn't go into. Sears, for example, became University Hospitals, and it also became a fitness center. Kmart closed, which is still vacant to this day. JCPenney is vacant. The mainline Dillard store is still vacant. And the old Farmore, which became Stephen Barry's, is vacant. Whereas you have Dunham's Discount Sports taking up an anchor space. And if you want to consider the AMC movie theater as one as well. Out of all the stores in this place, which had room for 70, only about 25 or so occupy the mall. The mall is over 1,074,470 square feet of retail space, and only a fraction of that is still used to this day. And yes, they had a Radio Shack here. Enjoy this. I loved stepping foot into this old Radio Shack. I even made a purchase in there and was surprised by the employee who gave me a little pin, which I'm about to show you here in just a moment. But first, check out this arcade game. So that was a win. Not only did I get the antenna that I needed for my scanner for rail fanning, but a buddy of his that actually works in the shop with them has a thing to print buttons out. So he hooked me up with this little old school Radio Shack logo button that was made. It's not vintage, but they made it, which is pretty cool because it looks pretty darn good. So thanks, Radio Shack. I appreciate the antenna and the button. So how about that? Pretty cool, huh? I was thankful to be able to get that from the gentleman who was running the store, which, by the way, is not a company-run store, but a franchisee. As you know, Radio Shack has struggled for several years themselves, and to even find an open one anymore is a sight for sore eyes. Anyway, getting back into the history of the Ashtabula Towne Square. The developer for the mall was Cafaro Company. However, in 2008, the mall was purchased by Cabot Investment Properties, if I said that correctly. I apologize if I didn't. And that's when the mall was renamed to the Ashtabula Towne Square. As I had mentioned, the original name was Ashtabula Mall. Since the mall's renaming, several, and I mean several more businesses closed, and that's when this mall really took a nosedive. And unfortunately for this area, it's a smaller town which is sandwiched between Cleveland, Ohio and Erie, Pennsylvania, where obviously there's a lot more business and a lot more successful malls. But it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with that. It's the fact that other areas of interest in the Ashtabula area close, like Geauga Lake for one, and more people now go to Erie for Waldameer or to Cleveland for Cedar Point. Anyway, naming some of the businesses that closed since the Cabot purchase in 2008 would include Old Navy, Spencer's Gifts, Claire's, Fashion Bug, Lane Bryant, Payless Shoe Source, Wendy's, yes, there was a Wendy's at the mall, GameStop, Mr. Hero, J.B. Robinson Jewelers, and Ruby Tuesday. Those are just a few of the several businesses that closed. Stephen Barry's obviously closed in October of 2008. Finish Line Incorporated, King's Jewelers, and Zales have also closed in the recession area of our lifetime. Walden Books existed here, but they closed in 2010. I actually got to go into that Walden Books a couple of times as my mom made a few purchases there when I was a young child. In 2011, the mall was foreclosed on as a result of its failure. As a result of the foreclosure and sheriff's sale, it's with mixed emotions that I say in 2020, the mall was sold by Surefire Group LLC to Ashtabula Mall Realty Holding LLC, aka Cohan Retail Investment Group, for $10.2 million. And even though Cohan said that they were paying the taxes owed on the mall to the county, If you know anything about Cohan and their track record, it's not very good. They were the owners of the Chapel Hill Mall, which just recently closed within the last year, and they are known to have struggling malls around the country. So, only time will tell on what will happen with this place, but I'm not holding my breath, unfortunately. Now, for a small town of Ashtabula, Ohio, a mall like this holds itself together because the local community that does support it is there often. Even though the weather was bad and there were fewer people there than normal, we did see some traffic here and there, especially in the bigger known stores. And I would like to think on a nicer day, especially on a weekend, they get a little bit more foot traffic in there, but it's unlikely. So the future's still up in jeopardy and up in the air for this place. I, for one, being attached to this mall, like I have been my whole life, even though I haven't frequented as much as other malls in my area, I would be sad to see this one go. Though there's not a whole lot of places I could shop at, some of the stores that are in here are of special interest, and I enjoy shopping there when I go. So anyway, I hope you enjoy learning a little bit of the history of this mall. I like the aesthetics of this place. It was pretty nice. You know, a little modern, sure, but not as bland as Simon likes to make their malls, if you know anything about Simon Group malls. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'm looking forward to all the mall videos that we're going to be continuing to do here in 2022. Our next one's going to be a biggie. It's going to be the American Dream out there in East Rutherford, New Jersey, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, take care, everybody. Thanks for watching again. Stay awesome. And on Kayla's behalf, have an Ashtabula Towne Square-licious day. That's a mouthful. Love that painting, by the way. Anyway, enjoy the aesthetics and some music. And thank you all to our Patreon supporters that make videos like this possible. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye, everybody.